Welcome to your Daily 5 for Tuesday, April 30th, 2024. Over the weekend, I watched a movie from 1984 titled Soul Survivor. Now, that's SOLE, Survivor. And it's important to put the year if you're going to search for it, because if you just look for Soul Survivor movie, you're going to find a movie, I think, from 1980 that I think is a lot better known. I think it did better and it was a more high profile film. So make sure you're searching for Soul Survivor 1984 and then you'll see the film I'm talking about. The poster has like a radar screen and a black skull with red eyes and it's green and red and black. It's a neat poster. Anyway, the movie, the synopsis that IMDb has is not quite accurate. It's somewhat accurate, but also has things that are completely flatly incorrect. But in essence, the movie is about a woman who survives a plane crash, and she is as the title says, the sole survivor. And after surviving, she starts to feel like something is not right. Now, if you read reviews for the film, many will compare it to the Final Destination films that came many years later. And it definitely does. I don't know whether there was any direct inspiration. I have no idea if the people behind the new movie saw this and decided to make a more gory and over-the-top version, a more zany version, really, to use the best word for it, version of this movie. But there definitely is a parallel between them. Now, it is at the same time the polar opposite of those films, because where the Final Destination movies, as I said, are very over-the-top, very gory, just almost to the point of ridiculousness, Soul Survivor is slow and atmospheric and very deliberately paced, which, if you read some reviews, a lot of people will say, well, that makes it boring. Well, I guess that's just a matter of taste. I did not find it boring at all. I actually was really impressed with this movie because I went into it and I wasn't expecting, I thought it was going to be okay. Based on the reviews that I'd seen, I knew it wasn't going to be bad, at least not bad for me, but I didn't expect to really like it, and I came to the end of it, and I really enjoyed this movie. Again, because I feel like it did some things that were opposite of what I was expecting based on the Final Destination comparison, but also unusual for the time, because this is, dead middle almost of the 80s, making a movie like this. I expected a lot more jump scare material, which there really isn't. I was impressed with how well the female main character was written. She's a very strong character. She doesn't take any crap from anybody. There's a number of times where other characters are suggesting that maybe she's imagining things or exaggerating things, and she immediately pushes back on that and will not accept that. She's very set in the fact that she knows what she saw and she knows what's going on, or at least what she can perceive that's going on. And that's a refreshing change. I also like the way the dialogue is a lot of the time. It's awkward, but awkward in a way that has an organic feel. It's appropriately awkward, which is not something you find a lot. And I just overall like the way that the movie was paced. There's a mystery somewhat to it, although not really. The movie has a very interesting singular tone in the way that it plays things. And I'll talk about it more on Friday because I'd have to go way into spoiler material and I have to talk for a long time to really describe it properly. But the movie doesn't come across the way you would expect it to the benefit of the viewer. I actually think that's a great aspect of the film. There's not a lot of gore, as I said. There's a little bit, there's one really good moment at the beginning, and there's some at the end, but it's barely anything, so don't come into this expecting gore. Again, not jump scary. A lot of it is just this woman being freaked out by empty spaces and rooms because she's hearing things or thinking she's seeing things or is in fact seeing things. And it plays with that a lot until it gets to the end of the film. And then, you get your resolution. Like I said, I liked it. It's about 90 minutes long. The only problem with it is it's not easy to find. It's only, as far as I can tell, streaming on AMC. And there's a few versions of floating around on YouTube. As far as I can tell, there isn't a high-def version of this, or at least I didn't find one. So the one I watched is probably the DVD quality one, which is perfectly fine. It's completely acceptable. It's just not a high-def version, or not, what we expect now. It's not a pristine new version of it. But the important part is I really enjoyed the movie, and I think it's worth seeing for people who might be into more atmospheric horror films. It's simple. It's a small-scale story. It's got some interesting mechanics of what's going on once you get things explained, which I'll talk about again on Friday because I want to talk about them at length. But just in general, I was really pleasantly surprised by this one, and I'd never heard of it. I just came across it almost by chance and saw it mentioned somewhere, found it on YouTube, and decided, okay, I'll watch this. Why not? And I came away really impressed with it. I don't know anybody who's in it, but everybody is good. And like I said, just in the end, I felt it was a well-told story. So again, 1984, Soul Survivor. If you're into horror, then might be worth your time because I enjoyed it. You might too. Later.